Walter Howard the Fourth. Can you
What's going on, man?
Everything sounds good?
Yeah, everything sounds fucking perfect.
Fucking great. Fucking finally.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about choosing mental illness as a virtue from a fan's perspective. I'll get right into it. Like I told you before, for me, it's a monumental album. It's Phil's finest work, you know, his swan song, his Rain and Blood, riffs on tops of riffs on top of riffs. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, their arrangements are cerebral. I think everyone's familiar with Phil's, you know, other projects with Superjoint, which I think is terrific. Pantera has their moments. Down is a group of all-stars. Scour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't. Scour is I don't. Is that black metal? What would you call that?
That's black metal.
Is it? Well, maybe.
That's just pretty much black metal.
Maybe there's something between me and black metal. I don't know. But the Illegals, to me, appear to be the vision and arc of one man, and you guys are executing that vision with this unified wall of visceral, provocative emotion. You know, it's like one of those legendary jazz albums that reveals itself after the listeners put time and effort to concentrate on the material. When you get to know the album intimately, the rewards come back to you. Like a good whiskey, it just ferments in your mind, and then the album announces its arrival, you know. And I think a lot of albums are like that, you know, the old school jazz with Kind of Blue, Miles Davis and stuff, and Slayer's Rain and Blood, and you know, just monumental albums. For me, it's like that, and for me, it's not getting enough press. It's not getting, even though you guys have been touring, and you know, I'm just not seeing enough. I don't know, man. I just feel like it should be getting the same accolades as Pantera, you know.
No, I kind of feel you the same way, but I'm not sure exactly why or another. It's just there's so much stuff coming out nowadays. It's almost just an oversaturation of the market in a sense, you know, just too many albums coming out at once.
Yeah, I agree. There's so many bands now, and so much. There's just not that. You know, the record companies aren't dictating anymore. Bands are just doing things on their own. But
yeah, exactly.
But on this album, you've got these polished riffs, you know, that are wrapped in ferocity and just repackaged with bravado. I mean, it's really what inspired me to drive from Jacksonville, Florida to New Orleans to see the first live show. And you guys were terrific.
Oh, thanks, man.
Each nuance was discernible, and I think your tone on the bass really comes across live in a way that it didn't on the album.
Yeah, it's a little. The recording is just I wouldn't say like muddy, but yeah, it's just a little bit easier to hear. There's 3 guitar tracks, so the bass track can get like lost pretty quick.
And Phil, I know Phil's writing most of those riffs, right? I mean,
yeah, most of them, they're all Phillips riffs.
Yeah, and I know he plays guitar and bass. I think he played a lot of the bass and guitar on the first Superjoint record, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
So I have just a few questions I want to run by you, man. What influenced you to pick up the bass guitar?
For me, I was always an instrument I've always wanted to play, but I finally got a chance to play whenever it was my other band, Vaginal Bear Trap. That was like the first time getting a chance to play bass, but I was playing guitar before that. But ever since then, it's always been the instrument I've been like chosen to play. Like I guess in every band, there's always been the one that I get to do is bass. But I love it. It's one of the best spots on the stage to jam at, you know.
Well, okay. So what made you pick up the guitar then?
The guitar, just all like jamming all like all the music I've been listening to, like just metal bands, and always wanting to like have a chance to like recreate that almost, you know, just being like I always wanted to learn how to like play like some of my favorite bands were like Death, you know, Chuck Schuldiner and this and that, and being able to like play riffs like them and just get a chance to do more than just listen to it.
How did you come across the bands like that, like Death and I mean, because I was brought up with, you know, on Hendrix, Led Zeppelin and stuff like that, and I really didn't branch out until I got out from underneath my parents' wing, you know. Where were you hearing? Oh, but you live in Texas, right? So you were probably picking up. Yeah.
No, I lived at the time. It's between San Antonio and Dallas that I was living in, like growing up. Like right now, I live in San Antonio, but I've been here since 2008 now.
Yeah.
But I lived in Dallas for about 10 years as well. But that for the most part is always like just looking at bands that I liked, like different like shirts they'd always wear, like different band shirts. I look up those bands, or like on the thanks list on any band's like CD or album, whatever I look at, and I would see like what bands they were like giving shout outs to and listen to them as well.
Yeah, that sounds like I could be saying the same things. Really, that's kind of the way I live as well. It's funny how you get like that. You start devouring every morsel that you can come across in magazines and whatnot.
Oh, absolutely. My favorite was Metal Maniacs. I used to read that all the time. That's where I got into a bunch of underground like metal acts.
Right. It's quite a genre. It's quite a large genre at that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's super.
And so, Mike DeLeon, I know he was in Flesh Hoarder, but you guys played in a band together, right?
Me and Mike, no, actually, this is the first time we got a chance to play in
with
each other. We've like jammed with each other a bunch, like with like shows wise. I've even played shows at his old house, like 2 or 3 times. My other band.
Okay.
But yeah, we had a long history of just like jamming shows here in Texas.
So why do you think he thought of you when he was talking to Phil and they were looking at the idea of bringing in a bass player?
Well, he was thinking about somebody that would just be like down to do it and give it their all, and is a great person and musician, So he thought, hey man, you're the best fit for it, so try it out,
And then so you arrive on the scene, and in New Orleans, right, or in the outskirts of New Orleans.
Yeah, and like near New Orleans.
And your first few days with the band, what was that like?
That was pretty amazing. It's a trip. I never met Philip before that, so my first experience was just like waking up in the morning and walking downstairs and meeting him, But it was all super chill. I'd jam with like for the most part everybody but Philip, So it was just kind of, it was not too hard trying to like jump into it, but it was just definitely surreal for the first few days, just trying to get used to it. I was there for 6 days, so for the first 3 it was a trip. Just getting used to like where the fuck am I kind of thing,
Right. Yeah, getting acclimated. And it almost sounds like this commune where musicians come and go, and maybe he's trying some certain people out like you, and I guess you're staying at the house, kind of, right?
Yeah, there's rooms like all over the place there upstairs. There's like 3 or 4 bedrooms, so there's always somewhere to crash.
Right. Okay. And some of your favorite songs from the album, what would those be?
Mixed Lunatics Results and Choosing Mental Illness, probably some of my highlights. That one and Individual too, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Mixed took a while to grow on me. I think mine were probably Finger Me. There's so many. I really liked all of them though, Utopian.
Oh, same.
Utopian, Delinquent, The Ignorant Point even is one that, we talked about how it grabs you by the throat and it doesn't let you go from the first note, and really in your face and brutal. And I saw that you guys had played that at the gig in Mexico.
Oh yeah, no, we were throwing it in the set like half and half. That was like one of those interchangeable, like later half of the Illegals albums we were playing. We were changing up songs like that one, and sometimes we played Delinquent, and sometimes we play other ones,
Right. Well, when I saw you in New Orleans, you guys did the first 4 songs off the album in the same order. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I don't know if you remember that or not, but it was quite an impression. It was great,
Getting kind of a chance to hear like the album.
and then you ran over the first album a little bit, and then you came back to it, and then it was and then you closed the set with a Pantera's Hellbound, And as far as what you brought to the material, I guess I know some of the songs were written before you got there, and then you got there, and can you elaborate on that? Like just what you were bringing to what if I'm listening to the album, like where am I hearing, Walter Howard, his influence or his input? Is it in the arrangement, or maybe like the cacophony of descending lines, or what do you have to say about that?
A lot of it's matching what the kick drum is doing. So sometimes it's not necessarily going with like the riff itself. I'll be playing something just straight rhythmic, just going kind of accent like a double bass or something.
Yeah.
But and then some parts it was just free reign of like do whatever you want kind of thing. Like nobody has a set like do this or do that. Just kind of throw something out. It's gonna work kind of thing. Just chaos, but it's controlled.
Now, Blue is kind of a phenomenon as a drummer. I mean, he really is something special, and I know Phil knows that, and that's why he's in multiple bands. Superjoint and and even War Beast and all that.
That's always like Blue's the one I have to listen to the most. Like I'm always trying to match what the drums are doing. Like the bass and the drums should always be in sync.
Yeah.
If they're in sync, then everything's fucking golden. It's gonna sound great.
That's wise. Yeah. Now, does he go by Joe Gonzalez or is it Jose or what?
Joey, or mostly Blue.
Joey. Okay, Blue. Yeah. And he's a short guy. I met him briefly in New Orleans, and like I told you, he was chasing women around the establishment.
Yeah. Definitely Blue's
quite comical.
Right?
Quite comical to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that when you guys played that Mexico show, he drove down there with De Leon, right?
Yeah, he did.
And how did you get to that
we
show?
flew out of San Antonio, so I just got a ride over there.
Okay. Yeah, and Phil's ticket prices were always very reasonable. I think I know he's probably, I guess he's doing it for the fans. Maybe he wants to, increase his fan base, get more people to the shows.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's definitely just kind of being mindful of, people are going to pay like $20 is like 25 is very fair. I think anything more than that is like it gets a little greedy almost, but it's just guaranteeing almost a little more like people coming in because it's not easy economy everywhere,
Yeah, and I mean you're touring with another band though, King Parrot, and it just seems like it's a lot of overhead,
Oh right, yeah. I mean honestly, it was pretty easy with like the touring package we did for both those tours. With like we had King Parrot the first time, and then the second tour it was Childbite, but it made it really easy to like do everything as far as setting up, because we all backline, over everything, and they were helping us out, we were helping them out, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Right on. And some nights you had three bands, right? You would take like a local band.
Yeah. Sometimes I remember one show we had like 6 local openers.
Yeah.
There was two bands playing at the same time, pretty much. It was weird.
Yeah, and when I saw you in New Orleans, I think there was a local band that opened for you guys.
Yeah, Pussy Rat.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah, right. Those some homies.
I did check out some Vaginal Bear Trap today online.
Oh yeah.
I tend to go. I'm going to go check it out. So I just saw some live footage on YouTube, and I saw you up there.
Oh, cool.
With your bass. Yeah. I don't know what type of bass is that. What type of gear are you using right now?
Right now I have a ESP AP4 or LTD LP4.
Yeah.
Yeah, AP4 it's called. And then previously I had a Schecter Omen Extreme 4.
Okay.
And then I think before that I was using an Ibanez, just like a sound gear. Ibanez.
That's right. I think that's what you had in the Vaginal Bear Trap video. You had an Ibanez.
Yeah, those are the really old videos, and those are the ones from like 2010, 2011, something like that.
And which one was the one you were playing at the Mexico show?
The Mexico show, I was playing my Schecter.
How have you grown from this experience, man? Because I know you've learned a lot, and you've I know you're soaking it all up, and it just I'm sure it's changed you and challenged you, and can you elaborate on that?
I would definitely say just like getting a better idea of song composition, of like how they put everything together, seeing veterans put songs together like really quickly, and how they did it. It was just kind of inspiring to see that, and also just kind of always learning a new technique how to play. Like having to learn those Pantera songs is like having to learn a totally different technique of playing that I never really had to mess with too much before.
Yeah, I think, and that's what fans are always curious about that. I know, they always think about how did the music come together, who did what, and how does it come together, and it's it's really, you've got a unique experience there of just being there when the process is coming down and being written and then recorded. And,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And now it's being shared with the world, and such a, again, such a monumental effort that album is. And it's just, I almost feel like an album like that doesn't really come from a collective. It comes from an individual, a strong individual that has a vision, and then shares that with you guys, and you guys somehow manifest that vision.
No, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can hear it in the music. And
Right.
it's great too that Phil's got this maturity now where he doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
he's been there. He's done the mass appeal stuff,
Mhm.
popular stuff with Pantera, and I was glad to see just the illegal stuff when I saw you guys. I was very happy with just a single Pantera song, but that's me.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's other people there that probably come to the show specifically for those songs.
Yeah, it's always kind of a split audience with that. I noticed it on the tours, especially with the last half of the tours we were doing was just like all like it was like a split half in the middle, Pantera and illegal set. So some people were like super excited that we played. They wanted to hear more Pantera, and some people wanted to hear more illegal songs. That's like what they were there for. It's just kind of varied.
Yeah, I saw a video where you guys were playing Walk, and I know that I don't think Phil's played that in years, man. Probably.
Oh no, there's some of the songs we played he hadn't played in like 20 years, something like that.
Yeah. Now, did you learn the entire Vulgar album, or
Almost.
is it okay?
I think just other than like a few songs, we pretty much learned the entire Vulgar album.
Did Phil ever, I mean, dwell on those guys in Pantera that have passed away?
Yeah, once in a while we'd hear stories about just them recording or touring, Always kind of just goofy, like ridiculous stories. Not necessarily the best stories in the well, they're definitely hilarious, that's for sure. But some exposing stories, that's kind of the thing. It's always an interesting highlight for sure.
Yeah, a lot of weed and booze and ladies.
Yeah, the party time.
Right. So what about the bus, the touring bus, man? Is that like what is that like?
That was a trip, just being in it was a 12 bunk bus, and we all slept in the bunks and just drove like at night to each venue,
Now does King Parrot, they sleep in the same bus, right?
Yeah, King Parrot and Child Light, they all stayed in the bus with us.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, so like King Parrot, they had an extra guy, so there was one person that didn't have a bunk, and that was Flat. So that was the one dude that pretty much just slept in the back lounge.
Right.
But I mean, for the most part, it was just like a traveling family.
Okay.
So
and who drives? How does that work? Is there
we
a
have a driver.
Okay.
He's like during the day he's pretty much sleeping. So like when he gets there at like 1:00, 1:30, and then drives us all night.
Right. Wow, what an experience, man. That is so great.
Yeah, it was definitely a hell of a trip.
Wow. Yeah. And so now, you were saying you were doing some stuff with Noisy Neighbors.
Yeah, Noisy Neighbors with my good friends Shane, John, and Mike.
Yeah. And are you guys going to be recording?
They had a recording out just a little bit ago, actually. Their 7-inch just came out, but I will probably be, like, after these couple of live shows we have, start doing some recording.
Okay. Yeah, it's good, man, because I want to hear what you're doing after this. It's like I was saying before with Mike Patton, with his finger in a number of different pies, with Phantomus and Mr. Bungle and Faith No More.
Exactly.
I wanted to throw some band names at you, and you just give me a short, whatever comes to your head. So I'll start with Phantomus. What do you think?
Phantomus I do actually like a lot. I like the director's cut. Just all the takes on the different movie themes is great. But it's like a super group of just so many great musicians too. Yeah,
Dave Lombardo. I mean, the guys. Mm-hmm. And this new guy with Slayer. I say new guy, but Paul Bostaff. I mean, he's terrific as well.
Yeah.
And when I hear Lombardo,
I
think sometimes he's got, to my ear, and maybe I'm totally wrong on this because I'm not a drummer, but sometimes he has like go-to licks. How some people have go-to licks?
No, yeah, exactly. They're like what they're comfortable with, you know.
Yeah, but when I listen to Paul Bowe stuff, I don't hear those.
No, he's a really talented drummer though. He's played in so many good bands from like ranging from such a huge career, you know.
Yeah. Let me give you another band, Naked City.
Naked City's awesome. That's kind of a little more of what I'd like to play, like grindcore almost, you know. But I love that kind of stuff. It's just chaotic grind jazz.
Yeah. I actually met Bill Frisell, the guitar player, a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've seen him play a couple times. That guy's terrific. He's just beyond.
Oh, man.
He's on a whole other planet. Even when you talk to him, he's kind of on another planet.
No, yeah, I can imagine.
Judas Priest.
I love Judas Priest. That's a classic. They don't do wrong. Even their newest album was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty good. It was recorded very well, by the way.
Yeah, for
the
real.
Production value, right. Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden, love them too. That's like one band I've always wanted to see that I actually missed almost every time they come through.
Dark Funeral.
Dark Funeral I like a lot too. We actually played with them in Mexico.
Okay, no kidding.
Yeah, that was they played that same day as us.
Slipknot.
Slipknot not really my thing, but
yeah, not
I mean
mine.
they definitely do what they do great, but not really my cup of tea.
Right. Disturbed.
Yeah, no, same kind of story.
Right. It's kind of like pop rock,
really
right?
My cup of tea.
Yeah, it's like for your dad.
Almost
stuff your dad listens.
It's like I compare it to like the Ford Assembly line metal, just the formulaic metal stuff, you know.
Yeah. Metallica, same thing.
Metallica, kind of, yeah, just split down the middle on that one though, because I like the early half of the discography, but the latter half's not really my thing, you know.
Slayer,
I do love Slayer. Slayer, pretty much their last couple efforts haven't really kind of fallen short on me, but I mean, you can't fucking deny those early albums are too good, you know.
I think their last effort was pretty decent, man. I've been checking it out. I really liked the last one. Yeah, Repentless. I think.
Oh shit! No, I gotta give it another chance.
Yeah, I think you should, man, because and the recording quality, the production on that one is stellar.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. You can hear it.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Dead Cross. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah, Mike Patton's new project.
Right.
I've listened to them a little bit, but honestly, I haven't listened to them enough to give you a good opinion.
Brujeria or Brujeria.
Oh, Brujeria. Yeah, I like Brujeria for the first 2 or 3 albums. I got a chance to play with them here in San Antonio 5 years ago.
Oh, no shit, man.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I didn't write any bands out. I was just kind of going for spontaneity, you know. I didn't.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I just didn't want it to be too preconceived, you know.
Yeah, no, it's no problem, man. That's cool.
Yeah, and you know, I could say popular bands like AC/DC, Kiss, Aerosmith, and all that bullshit, but you know, everybody we're over all that, you know. We're just over it.
Right.
What about the the first Illegals album? Because I'm sure you've put a lot of effort into listening to that. And what are your thoughts on that album?
The first Illegals album was super similar to this one that just came out, Choosing Mental Illness, but it was definitely Choosing Mental Illness is a little more extreme. I would say the first one's a little more herky-jerky, but I love the album. It's just kind of all over the place, you know? Those songs are definitely like some of my favorite songs to play live too, though.
Yeah, and sonically it's kind of fat on the album. It's I think lyrically though it's a little weaker too than the new album, you know.
Yeah, these lyrics, I think they definitely were a little more, I guess, to the point. But
I mean, I don't know if Phil's
to the point, but
pulling out his thesaurus or what, because the some of the lyrics, some of these words I have to look up myself, you know. I mean, what's he getting?
Yeah, right. Just like, man, no, these are crazy linguists, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's just I'm really excited for the experience that you've got, you know, with this band and all the stuff that it brought for you, man. It's just, as a fan looking in, one can only imagine how great it must have been. And what a great year or two that you've had, right? I mean, I know there was the back issue, and that put you guys under the weather for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But he seems to be
it was
healing up.
A little delay, but honestly, man, it was. I'm so happy with the experience. It was such a it was a huge learning experience, that's for sure.
And now Bill, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Phil's basically sober, right? I mean, he probably does a little weed here and there. But
yeah, that's about it. He just smokes weed. Other than that, he had the whole time I've been jamming with him since 2015, 2016. He hasn't drank at all.
Yeah. And what about the guys around the ranch, around the commune there? Is that, because I mean, sometimes it's hard to not drink if your buddies are drinking, you know? Is that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we'd all drink a little bit, but for the most part, like none of us are like huge drinkers, anyways. We're all just potheads. So.
Right. Yeah, it's much better. It's much better.
Yeah, it's easy. You get a lot more done.
Yeah, you're productive and you're inspired, and yeah.
You're not hungover. You can wake up.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Good thing. Get it done, baby. Get it accomplished.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Walter, I really appreciate you taking the time, man. And
no problem.
It was great meeting you in New Orleans, and it's I'll dice this up and put it on YouTube and Godspeed for the rest of your future, man. I hope you do well.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. No, it's going to keep an eye out for some stuff.
Yeah, let me know, man, when you're getting new stuff, or if you're about to play on something that you're doing a recording and it's released or whatever. Just if you post it on your, I'll see it, and if you hear from Phil or something, let me know, man. If that works out.
Yeah,
for you
absolutely.
guys again, so. But
yeah, man, I'll keep you posted with everything.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate everything too, man. It's fun.
Take care, man. Good talking to you.
You too.
All right.
All right, later.
See you.